Let's head down to the Bayou and go inside LSU's big recruiting weekend. The Tigers held their annual spring game, and the recruits showed up. Let's take a look at the five-star visitors at LSU over the weekend. Can't start without quarterback Bryce Underwood. He was back in the Bayou. This was a very important visit. KeKe Lockett and DJ Pickett as well. Steve Wiltfong, what's the significance of seeing Bryce Underwood standing next to a KeKe Lockett on the sidelines of the spring game?
Well, it gives these guys an opportunity to get to know Bryce Underwood and vice versa. This is one prospect that is not on Flip Watch right now, number one player in the On3 player rankings. This is another trip this calendar year down to LSU, and they just love being there and talking to his dad after the spring game, just envisioning Bryce being part of that quarterback equation next year. Watching the quarterbacks on the field play well in the spring game was exciting for him. And then getting around the recruits was also fun for the Underwood camp and their family as they continue to ingrain themselves in the LSU family. So he's obviously a lightning rod if he wants to be on the recruiting trail. And some of the best players in the country are also looking at LSU.
Yeah, and speaking of best players in the country, KeKe Lockett out of Texas. He was there, and he was at Texas the last weekend for their big visit weekend. How did LSU do with KeKe Lockett?
Well, he said, talking to KeKe Lockett after his visit, he said this place is amazing. Definitely the coaching staff, Coach Hankton and his track record, being part of a potentially special recruiting class. Brian Kelly and his success that he's had throughout his career. Those are all things that are really catching his eye. I think LSU is one of the three schools I'm watching the closest with KeKe Lockett, with Texas and Texas A&M. He's supposed to be back at A&M this weekend, but he's got a track meet, so I think that's going to get rescheduled. He was at Texas a couple weekends ago for what was a fantastic visit. But LSU and Texas, particularly their offenses, the track record of receiver development and receivers being drafted at a high clip early in the NFL draft. Those are things that are speaking to KeKe Lockett right now as he heads into official visit season. Those three programs that I mentioned are going to get official visits.
So who are you watching with cornerback DJ Pickett? He's On3's number one corner. He's from Zephyr Hills, Florida. He's been taking visits. Kind of hard to get a grip on where he ends up because he's been taking so many trips. But who do you see as the main competitors for five-star DJ Pickett?
Well, he told me that it's neck and neck with LSU and Miami, but how could he turn down the offer to play for who he thinks is the best DB coach in the country, and Corey Raymond? So LSU is sizzling in this recruitment right now. We talked about it on the Inside Scoop last night, Josh. Miami, if they have the season that they want to have this year, they could also be tough to beat with all the family ties that DJ has to the school. He's going to visit Oregon for their spring game. So they're in the middle of it. Georgia, Florida, Florida State, some of the other contenders for DJ Pickett. And it was a big weekend for LSU on the defensive line too, Josh. Just really quick, they had Jared Smith on campus. They're trying to make up ground on USC, South Carolina, and Georgia, to name a couple. Yeah. Damian Shanklin from my neck of the woods in Indianapolis was there. I think LSU will be he'll get back there for an official visit. He's going to announce a decision in September. Jeremiah McLeod is someone that's on Flip Watch, currently committed to Mississippi State. He was in Death Valley this weekend. Brandon Brown's a Texas defensive line commit from Florida that visited and had a really good time as well. And one more name to mention, offensive lineman Mario Nash Jr. from Mississippi. I think that LSU has put themselves right in the middle of that one. He's setting up his official visit soon, and I would expect him back in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, the Bengal Tiger here on the On3 Network does an incredible job of covering all things recruiting. They also landed on the Bengal Tiger reports of landing a commitment from JT Lindsay, a running back to pair with Harlem Berry. So their running back class is filling out. One more thing I want to talk about before we get out of this LSU segment, and that's wide receiver Doran Moore. He was expected to be in Columbus for the Ohio State spring game. He no-showed. He was at the OT 7-7-on-7. Is LSU kind of out of the woods here, or is Ohio State still a threat?
Ohio State's still in the game. I got them in the 4 spot right now for Doran Moore. If you're LSU, you're happy he didn't get up to Columbus to see what was a tremendous atmosphere where he could have got around Tavian St. Clair in this outstanding Ohio State class that ranks number 1 in the country more time spent with Brian Hartline. It would have been more time spent with the receivers. And spring games, they don't mean much from a scouting eye point, but it's a celebration of spring camp ending. It's always just a fun time to be around a football program. It's always a great atmosphere. So Doran Moore did not get that this weekend at Ohio State. So for LSU, you're happy that they didn't gain any recruiting inches on you, but you're still losing sleep over Texas's position. Obviously, he's been to Texas a bunch. And then Oregon has been in the middle of that one for a while. He's going to visit Oregon in May. He's going to take his official visits. So LSU, man, this thing's still a marathon. Obviously, they're running near the front of the pack, but they got some guys that are trying to pass them.
Yeah. All right. LSU fans, talk to me. Comment section below. How are we feeling about the spring game recruiting intel? Number 2 class in the country. Could they make a run at number 1? I think so. Let me know how we feel in comment section below.